After my 2018 JRPG recap video became my biggest video to date, I had a lot of people ask me when I was going to make a follow-up list for this year. And for this year's list, I decided to wait a little longer into the year to try to let some new announcements happen and some release dates get confirmed. With that in mind, remember that this video was recorded on March 30th, 2019, so any game released prior to this date will not be on the list, nor will any game announced after, because I'm not a psychic. So with that out of the way, here is a list of every JRPG and some other Japanese games that are coming in 2019. First up on the list is Atelier Lulua. This is the latest entry in the Atelier series and is a sequel to the Arland trilogy of games, taking place several years after Atelier Maruru. In this game, you take the role of Lulua, aspiring alchemist and daughter of Rorona from the previous games. If you've played any Atelier game before, you know exactly what you're getting here. In addition to having similar gameplay as the previous Arland series, the game will feature new synthesis, battle, and exploration systems, as well as a combined gameplay with the latest Mysterious series. Atelier Lulua launches in North America on May 21st for PS4, Switch, and PC. Who says the 3DS is dead? Well, after this game comes out, it pretty much is. Persona Q2 is the follow-up to the 2014 original and appears to be the swan song for the 3DS, as there are no other major games known to be in development for the system. Just like its predecessor, it is a fusion of Etrian Odyssey-style dungeon-crawling gameplay with characters, music, and story elements from the Persona series. It is worth noting, due to what I can only assume are budget constraints, this localization will not feature an English dub. However, it will feature characters from Persona 5 for the first time, making it the only game to feature all three modern Persona squads in the same title. Persona Q2 launches in North America on June 4th for the Nintendo 3DS. The JRPG visual novel hybrid Death End Request has been out on the PlayStation 4 for a while now, but if you're a PC player, soon you'll be able to get in on the action too. Death End Request launches in North America this spring for PC. Super Neptunia RPG is certainly a different kind of Neptunia game. For one, it's being developed by Canadian studio Artisan Studios, which is the first time any entry in the series has been developed outside of Japan. Its core gameplay is also that of a 2D side-scrolling RPG, which is also a first for the Neptunia series. I've never really been into the Neptunia games myself, but it seems like fans aren't too happy about the direction this new game is taking. Personally, I think the pre-rendered backgrounds look gorgeous, but the animations and gameplay, not so much. Super Neptunia RPG launches in North America this spring for PS4 and Switch. Dragon Quest Builders 2 is the sequel to 2016's Dragon Quest Minecraft mashup of the same name. This all-new title will feature some gameplay and exploration improvements over the first game, and will give a whole new look at the world of Dragon Quest 2. Dragon Quest Builders 2 launches in North America on July 12th for PS4 and Switch. The newest entry in the long-running strategy role-playing series will make its long-awaited return to home consoles this summer. In Fire Emblem Three Houses, you as a professor will choose one of the three houses to train and lead into battle. Apparently your units can still fall victim to permadeath, so how that's going to meld with the story of you teaching a bunch of kids and sending them out to their doom is going to be interesting. All kidding aside, I've been a long-time fan of the series, but have never been too compelled with the 3D entries, so I'm hoping that maybe this one changes my mind on the matter. Fire Emblem Three Houses launches worldwide on July 26th for the Nintendo Switch. Okay, this is not a JRPG whatsoever, but I love this game so much that I just had to talk about it. Catherine Full Body is the definitive edition of Persona Team's narrative-driven puzzle game classic that originally released for PS3 and 360 back in 2011. This new port will feature additional characters, scenarios, endings, and improved graphics. Catherine is one of those one-of-a-kind games that is far more appealing in practice than it sounds on paper, and it's a game that you really have to play to appreciate, so all I can say is if you didn't play it back in the day, please do yourself a favor and pick this up when it comes out later this year. Catherine Full Body launches in North America on September 3rd for the PS4. So I said this would be a list of every JRPG coming in 2019, so that means not just the good ones. Arc of Alchemist is not out yet, but it doesn't look great. It looks like a low-budget action RPG with animations and graphics to match. If you're a fan of Idea Factory's other works, you might be able to look past these issues, but in my opinion, there are far too many great games out there to play for me to spend time on one like this. But hey, if that's your thing, no judgment on my part. Arc of Alchemist launches in North America this summer for the PS4. I Am Setsuna developer Tokyo RPG Factory's third game, Oninaki, was announced and shown off at Nintendo's February Direct earlier this year. While I have been unimpressed with their previous work up to this point, seeing that their newest game is an action RPG as opposed to a straight turn-based game like their past two games makes me slightly hopeful. I prefer turn-based over action, but they never nailed good turn-based combat in my opinion, and I think that an action RPG may be a better fit for their engine. The only question I have is the pricing. The first game was $40, and the follow-up Lost Sphere was $50, and I swear, if they try to ask $60 for this game, people will laugh them out of the building. Price your games appropriately, Square. For the love of God, please. Oninaki launches in North America this summer for PS4, Switch, and PC. Digimon Survive is a survival sim RPG with grid-based tactical gameplay akin to a Disgaea or Fire Emblem. Not much is known about the game so far, but we do know that the player's choice can impact the story, leading to multiple endings and the possible deaths of the characters. All in all, I'm kind of into it, and it looks like something I may actually pick up. Digimon Survive is slated to launch worldwide sometime this year for all major platforms. Have you ever found turn-based combat too simple and boring? Ever wanted something wacky to spice it up? How about vertically oriented grid-based turn-based battles that take place in the air that end in you consuming your foes? If all that sounds like your thing, then Dragon Star Varnir might be the game for you. Dragon Star Varnir launches in North America this summer for PS4. So I'm a huge fan of Darkest Dungeon, which, by the way, if you haven't played, I highly recommend. It's a turn-based, brutally difficult, roguelike dungeon crawler that has a stunning dark atmosphere and art style. The game I'm talking about today, however, is Mistover, a seemingly Korean-developed RPG dungeon crawler that adopts a similar art style, to say the least. I don't know if Red Hook should be flattered or filing a lawsuit, honestly. But regardless, the game looks promising. Exploration appears to take place on a sort of grid, while battles are turn-based. It's still in early access on Steam, so we'll have to wait and see how this one shapes up. Mistover launches in North America this summer for Switch and PC. Indivisible is the platforming RPG hybrid from the talented folks at Lab Zero, creators of the stylish tag fighter Skullgirls. Announced way back in 2015 with an accompanying Indiegogo campaign, Indivisible features the same gorgeous hand-drawn visuals and fluid animation we've come to expect from Lab Zero, as well as an interesting take on battle. Battles are semi-turn based, with what seems to be a system akin to the ATB system from Final Fantasy and many other RPGs. Instead of selecting your actions from a menu, however, you control your party with different face buttons. To perform different attacks, you input a direction with the accompanying face button, like up, for example, for an uppercut type attack. It's got a lot going for it, and I cannot wait to see how it ends up. Indivisible is slated to launch in North America in the first half of this year for all major platforms. This was one of the most out-of-left-field games on this list. The Alliance Alive was originally a 3DS game released just last year, but it is now getting a remastered port to not only the Switch, but the PS4 and PC as well. I never played the original on 3DS, but it seems like a very classic turn-based style RPG and something I'd probably be into, so I'll gladly take up the chance to check it out on one of these newer platforms. The Alliance Alive HD Remaster launches in North America this fall for PS4, Switch, and PC. You like 3DS ports? Because I've got another one. Rune Factory 4 is coming to the Switch in the form of Rune Factory 4 Special. This port/remaster will feature an all-new difficulty mode, as well as new in-game cutscenes and marriage options. I plan on this being my first Rune Factory game when it comes out, if my schedule will allow it, that is. Rune Factory 4 Special is slated to launch in North America sometime this year for the Nintendo Switch. At long last, after 23 years of waiting, we finally have a mainline Pokemon game coming to the home console. Pokemon Sword and Shield was announced earlier this year and looks amazing. As a hardcore Pokemon fan up to Gen 5, and as a casual fan of every game that came afterwards, this is something I have been waiting for my entire life. We don't exactly have details on what could be new with the game yet, but I can't wait to see what the Galar region has in store for me. Pokemon Sword and Shield launches worldwide this fall for the Nintendo Switch. Here's a game we haven't seen in a while. Code Vein was actually on last year's list of games to be released, but in July of 2018, the game was delayed to 2019. And since then, we haven't heard much of anything on this anime Dark Souls-like RPG. As much as I would hate it, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the game gets delayed again. But here's to hoping it doesn't. Code Vein is slated to launch worldwide sometime this year for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Dragon Quest is one of my all-time favorite JRPG series, and Dragon Quest XI was my second favorite game of last year. Now it's getting an all-new definitive edition exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. This new version will feature a host of gameplay improvements like the ability to switch between an orchestral soundtrack and the original synthesized tracks, and increased battle speed, as well as all new features like new story content and retro-inspired content. There's some controversy around whether or not this new content will remain exclusive to the Switch version, but regardless, I'm glad we're getting new content at all in the form of this port. Dragon Quest XI's Definitive Edition launches worldwide this fall for the Nintendo Switch. Destiny Connect is a time-traveling JRPG that takes place on the eve of the new millennium, when suddenly time stands still. It is up to you, a young girl named Sherry, her friend Pegrio, and Isaac, the time-traveling robot, to unravel the mystery behind this strange event. Together, you'll revisit the past and peer into the future, learning some interesting things about their families and their peculiar town. Destiny Connect Tick-Tock Travelers launches in North America this fall for the PS4 and Switch. Now let's move on to games that have no firm release date, but that I think could possibly come out this year. Take everything I say after this point with a grain of salt, as this is just me speculating at this point. So first, let's look at 2, or technically 4, remasters/remakes that I really want to come out this year. These being the Langrisser 1 and 2 remakes, and the Grandia 1 and 2 remasters. Langrisser is a series that has, for the most part, never been released outside of Japan, with the most notable US release being the first game, which was released under the title Warsong for the Sega Genesis in 1991. Other than that, the name Langrisser probably doesn't mean a whole lot to most Western players. Releasing these remakes to the rest of the world could finally give the series a chance to shine, and while there's no confirmation of a Western release, if the localization has already secretly begun, there is a small chance it could come out this fall. Grandia 1 and 2, on the other hand, is far more likely, as these games already have history with Western players, and the publisher themselves have teased a North American release. I'd almost say this one is a safe bet, but since as of recording this video, we have no cold hard facts, I'm going to keep it in this section. Shortly before recording this video, Persona 5 The Royal was officially announced, and a month after I record this video, we should have details as to what exactly it is. Is it a definitive edition of Persona 5 for PS4? Are we also getting a Switch port of the game? Who knows? Well, if you're watching this video in the future, you know. But either way, I bet we're getting something Persona 5 related this year. But yeah, I think that about covers it. I made the Final Fantasy VII Remake joke last year, so I'll wait until next year to make that joke again. But out of the ones I talked about, what are your most anticipated JRPGs coming out this year? And if I missed any, be sure to let me know down below as well. I'm sure I did miss some. I tried pretty hard to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I'm only human. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and I will catch you guys in the next video.